Welcome back, guys. Today's Sunday, September the 15th, and the little brown truck paid us a visit this week. Brought all of our floorboard parts to us. Just wanted to show that stuff to you. Everything that you see here came through EMS Automotive out of Detroit, Michigan. It's all American made, with the exception of the two floor braces. These two pieces here, that's your left and right seat brace, I'm sorry, not floor brace. Those came from Eckler's Classic Chevy. But some really nice looking pieces. We've got number 2 floor brace. This piece up here. This is your outer rocker, your inner rocker. This piece in the back right here, this is your inner rocker that goes in behind the quarter. Then we've got the full rear seat pan. We've got the 2 front pans, toe board, and then these two up here. That's your number 1, number 2 floor brace on the right side. Again, your front inner rocker, the rear inner rocker back by the quarter panel, and the outer rocker. What I see so far, some real quality pieces. Get you in here a little closer on them. As you can see, the rear floor pan, it covers the entire rear area, including the transmission hump. The front floor pans go from the outer rocker over to the transmission hump. Toe board covers the same area from the body of the car over to the hump. So overall, some really nice pieces. Your inner rockers on the left side, the rear one is a part number 277. The front is part number 270. Your outer rocker is 261. The rear floor pan on the left side is a 267. The 265 for the front, and your toe board is a part number 266. Moving over to the right side, the right rear floor pan is a 267, and the right front floor pan is a 265. Now on the floor pans, they're the same part numbers, so when you order, you have to designate left and right. If you order on the website, it's got a little place to select left side or right side on all these items, because a lot of them have the same part number. It was just designated left and right. So same things on your rocker, 277 right and 270 right, and then your outer rocker is 261 right. It's all made out of 18 gauge metal. It's made right here in the US, so great prices, good looking products. I can't wait to get started installing them. I had to go to Eckler's Classic Chevy. These are the 2 braces that go under the floorboard that your seat bolts to. That was the only place I could get those. They look like a good piece, although they are made in Taiwan, but a little bit thinner metal than what I was expecting, but still seems like a good quality piece. So get you over here to the car. We'll talk about some things that's been going on with the car. Alright, so as you can see, I've kind of laid out a rough drawing of or lines of where the new floor pans are going to lay. So if you see this line right here, this is where the rear floor pans come to. So from this point and then all the way back, and I hope you can see that line back there in the back, but that's where the rear pans go to. And then we've got this line here that goes up along the transmission tunnel. It's going to be your front floor pans. So we're going to do a little more cutting out, get these braces cleaned up, get the floor pans removed. We're going to go ahead and weld some bracing in on the inside just to make sure nothing moves. I've already had some issues with the door alignment. I think we got that figured out. The way these hinges sit in there, if you look up here, this is where your top hinge goes in, and this is where the bottom one goes in. I say at some point there's probably been somebody swinging on the doors, because there's no like collision damage here, but this side was pulled way in and this was pushed out this way, which made the door kind of want to rock down this way, and there just wasn't enough adjustment to get it up high enough for all your body lines to line up. But we got that straightened out. The doors looking good on this side, so we will get those put back on once the floorboards are in. Now, if you can see right here, these are all my measurements for the seat braces. So basically, if you're looking at the seat braces, which is this piece here and this piece over here on the other side, from the outside edge of this brace to the outside edge of this brace was 52.5 inches. Then if you go from the center inside hole to the center inside hole on this side, we're at 45 5/16. Then I've also got from where this floor brace connects together, so from the edge of this floor brace over to the edge of the seat brace is 4 5/8 inches, and then in the back, same thing, corner of the floor brace to the seat brace is 4 5/8. So that way we know where to locate our seat braces back, so everything should line up. We get those in, get them squared up. Once we get our the braces that we're going to get cut out and replaced, get those put in, and then we'll get all this cleaned up, rust treated, and then we'll start pulling our inner and outer rockers out and getting those put in, getting our braces reattached to the inner rocker. And I think we're going to have to do some work up here on this A pillar. We was doing a little cleanup down there, found a little cottage cheese down here in this area. I was looking at the EMS book, and they do make some patch pieces. They're mostly for the inside, but I think we're going to go back, get a couple of those, and see what those look like, and then we'll probably have to hand make a few little pieces of that. So, but that's where we're at. That's what we're going to be working on today. We're going to get some of this cleaned out, trimmed back a little bit more. We're going to get the sandblaster out, sandblast these seat braces or the floor braces and everything that we're going to reuse, and get started putting everything back together. Alright guys, we're not doing final cut this time. We're going to come back, good couple of inch and a half, couple of inches, and make our cuts just to leave plenty of material, because as we trim this stuff out, massage everything into place, the final locations of the pan will change a little bit. If you try to cut it all out at once, then you're liable to end up short on material. So take it in little steps, little cuts, and you'll be fine with it. And the other thing we got to decide too, these pans are actually lipped so that you can overlap. So we've also got decided we're going to overlap and the welds, do spot welds and weld it in that way, or we're going to go ahead and cut it and butt weld it together. But we got a lot of time to think about that. I'll kind of make that decision once we start getting the pans in and see how everything's going to fit. So here we go. Alright guys, there you have it. We're going to get this over, get the sandblaster set up, clean all this rust up, get the braces treated, got a little bit more trim to do across the back, and then we'll be ready to start fitting in our new floor pans. We'll get our interior braced up, get our inner and outer rockers cut out, get all that cleaned up, and we'll be ready to start putting new parts back in. So, as much as I wanted to save the floor pillars, once we got into it, just don't think that can happen. So, I had to get these. Our two back floor braces, the two long ones, these come from Eckler's Classic Chevy, made in Taiwan. Not a bad piece for a repop, not the quality that I've been seeing out of the EMS stuff. Now our front floor brace, that is still an EMS piece, and I'll show you the difference between these two here in just a minute as far as the fitment and everything goes. But they can't complain about these. They're a nice reproduction piece. The dimensions are mostly right. The one big thing I did notice is where the inner rocker mates up to the floor brace. That floor brace should have a flat face to it, and I'll show you that on the front floor brace here in just a minute. But as you can see on this one, this is more of a rounded face on this floor brace where it matches up to the inner rocker. I think we can correct that. Just have to take the hammer and dolly and kind of rework that face. And I'll show you how it's got the rocker kind of tipped, so we can address that at the same time. But you can see right there, it's making contact at the bottom. The farther up you go, the higher or the wider, I should say, the gap gets in that inner rocker. So we'll take a hammer and dolly, we'll kind of bring that bottom back, push the top out, kind of stretch it out a little bit, and I think we can make it work just fine. This is our front floor brace. Come from EMS. You can see how flat the face is on it and how well it meets up to the inner rocker. So much better fitting piece, quality piece. So I wished EMS made the complete floor braces, but at this time they don't. So we'll have to make do with what we got. And hey, like I said, glad to have these two. So, the next thing I want to show you is on the alignment of the inner rocker. If you look around, you can see where this rocker, the top of it's still leaning out too far. I want to lean it back just a little bit. And I'll do that with the hammer and dolly work. Once we get all the floorboards and everything in place, we'll come back, rework the face of those braces, and get this inner rocker fitting much better. So there you have it. We're going to continue test fitting this stuff and getting everything mocked up and in place, and we will get you a update once we get a little further along. Alright guys, here's your little update. About got the floorboards all fit. I've had them out about probably 10 times so far, cutting and trimming and fitting. So far they're fitting up real good. Got just a little bit of trimming I've got to do on the driver's side to get it lined up better. That'll happen once I cut out the rear inner rocker so I can slip the floor up underneath the B pillars and the doors. Of course, we've still got a lot of work to do on the A pillars where they're all rotted out on both sides. But we've got our doors fitting pretty good. This thing closed up where you can see the fitment we got on our doors now. And down at the bottom where they were sticking out, we got all that lined up pretty good now. So that part of it's coming along real nice. I'm going to have to rebuild the top hinges on both sides, but they do offer kits for that. Get you around here towards the back. You can see how all that's fitting. Of course, there's where we've got to work on our B pillars. I'll show you the passenger side when we get around to the other side. But you can see I got all my marks made for the little black marks. Those are all where I'm going to make my holes to do my plug welds, and of course marked silver out on the center tunnel. So far fitting pretty good. Now we did have to go back. The front mounts were all rotted out too. That's probably what let the car fall down. So did have to go in and rebuild part of those. I got those spot welded back in, but so I'll go back and blend that. Same thing here on the other side. I've got it all fixed, spot welded back in. It's just got to be blended. Our door fitment on this side is pretty good. Let me set this thing down. It's fitting pretty good. I just got to get my floorboard trimmed down, or we can go ahead and get it closed up. But we got our lines lined up. The bottom's fitting pretty good. You can see the little where this is not exactly lined up perfect right here. That's because I got to trim out a little bit on that other side. Let that other floorboard the rear floorboard. It's got to scoot that way just a little bit, and this will come on over and line up where it's supposed to be. Get you up here. There's the B pillar that we got to do the work on, and of course, the A pillar, and then the work we have to do in the back on the B pillar. But it's all fitting pretty nice. We're fixing to rip it all back out, make some little trimming adjustments, and see if we can get everything lined up and ready to weld in. Alright guys, there it is. As you can see, it's all lined up, fit in. Now we're gonna go back and prep everything to be welded in. I've got to make my holes for the mount, which I'm gonna do that before I pull it out. I can flip it over and get my front holes marked so I can have those drilled on both sides. Then I'm gonna pull all this out, weld through, we'll punch over our holes for our plug welds. Then we'll prime everything with the weld through primer on the front. Get all our marks done in the back, down the middle over here to get those welded in. Probably not going to weld the back end just yet. We'll put these plug welds in here. Probably going to wait on the back because I've got to make those two pieces. I've got to work on the inner supports, the B pillars, make the filler pieces that go under the windows and all of that. But we're going to get all this front welded in. The back will be permanently installed. Get our cross members welded in, and then be ready to set the body back down the floorboard. Do our put our patches in for our toe boards, and then we'll be ready to start on our A pillars and getting those rebuilt and lined up. So that's where we're at. I think I may make this a two-part video since it's getting so long. So we'll probably call this floorboard part 1. Then we'll start part 2 with doing all of our prep work, welding in, and then we'll start fabricating all the pieces that we've got to have to make.